Kulot.
I had a dream so big and loud. I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I stretched my hands out to the sky. We danced with monsters through the night. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now.
2, 3, 4.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My I howled at the moon with friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. But all the possibilities, no limits, just epiphanies. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, just don't wake me now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. The stars were burning so bright. The sun was out till midnight. I say we lose control. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. Everything is looking up, everybody up now. This is gonna be the best day of my life.
Danica Joy Escobar Namok, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Darwin and Christina Namok. Syra Jessica Pahariliaga Castro, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey and Elma Castro. Mark Joshua Balaba Miralles, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rolly and Edita Miralles. Neslin Joy Fabroa Bote, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nestor Jr. and Evelyn Bote. Gabriela Jean Alejandro Paras, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Marjon and Rachel Paras. Isa Angela Cuñano Rivera, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Isidro Jr. and Victoria Rivera. Kayla Cassandra Jimenez Garcia, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ruben Jr. and Lisbeth Garcia. Ali Serrano Quizon Jr., with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ali Sr. and Naida Quizon. Krishna Dayan Manuel Manabat, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ronilo and Marilyn Manabat. Lance Aviog Diego, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rex and Maricel Diego. Alisa Loren Reyes Tolentino, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Albert and Lorely Tolentino. Maria Isabela Asarcon Cunyano, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Edsel and Prani Cunyano. Jasmine Gold Pariliaga de Jesus, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Puselito and Cecil de Jesus. Adrian Ronquillo Bal, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Erickson and Aprilyn Bal. Ray Jeffrey Reyes Bote, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey and Emmy Rose Bote. Rica Marie de los Santos Lazaro, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo and Maricel Lazaro. Mark Pahariliaga Bote, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Roderick and Maribel Bote. Maria Pauline Velasco Padulina, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Marvin and Rosel Padulina. Lian Cyril Bote Arenas, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nestor Jr. and Divina Arenas. Jasmine Faye Bartolome Asarcon, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Francis and Vilma Asarcon. Lovely Marie Sanchez Apan, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Howell and Merlinda Apan. Rinjay Genobe Malyare, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. J. Andrew and Janet Malyare. Mark Paul Busalpa Borbor, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Paulo and Maricar Borbor. Jem Gabriel Padulina de Guzman, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Herman and Cristy de Guzman. Crislet Pauline Parado Bacay, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Crisanto and Marilet Bacay. Elisa Jane Caba Padulina, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Juan and Elsa Padulina.